to another edition of Let's Talk with yours truly, Big Chief and Stero Lion. Special guest this week with the female perspective to chime in is Yolanda. So we're going to get into this whole P. Diddy thing, the allegations, the testimony, the trial, and, dissect it up until what we've heard now,
Yes.
So what say you, Chief?
Yes. Thank you, everyone, for chiming in and always giving us the support. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and ring that notification button. All right. So we have a special guest here, like Stero said, Miss Yolanda, and she's going to drizzle some female perspective on this podcast today. So today, we're going to discuss about the P. Diddy his charges. In retrospect, he's charged with racketeering conspiracy. This charge alleges that Combs engaged in pattern of illegal activities using his business empire to facilitate to conceal various crimes. Right. Also, sex trafficking. He's charged with 2 counts of sex trafficking involving the use of force, fraud, and or coercion to compel individual into commercial sex acts. And last, transportation to engage in prostitution. Right. Como also faces 2 counts of transporting individuals across state lines for purpose of engaging in prostitution. And you know how the popular saying in the hood, you flew her out or flew her in, right?
Hey man, that is a laundry list of charges there that they have him, accused of. So it'll be interesting to see, whether they're able to find him guilty or not. Up until now, the testimony that has been given from the witnesses, from Miss Ventura herself, has been quite salacious, to say the least.
Very much so.
And, I think they're just trying to embarrass him. Let's take out all the grimy stuff first. Let's throw it all up. So when they get to that part about, oh, did you fly this guy out to meet her? They're making it sound like he's such a bad person. Like, oh, he did this, he did that. I know he did this. I think that's what they're trying to like a build up, like a story. Let's build the story up.
And they're trying to paint the picture, in other words.
Exactly. Let's paint this picture of this horrible, evil, bad person. Oh, he must have did prostitution. He must have bought prostitutes too. Instead of saying, okay, he bought this person, flew them to LA or flew them to Vegas. You know what I mean? Come out the gate. Yes. They want to build the story up and look at the poor, pitiful victim. And she was forced to do this and forced to do that. Instead of just saying, you bought prostitutes, boom. You bought prostitutes and brought them to LA, Vegas, Atlanta, wherever. They're painting this horrible, horrible story so he can be. How many people have bought prostitutes? I can literally give you 20 dudes that I know personally, off the top of my head right now, that's bought a prostitute on the street. You know what I mean? But because she wants to come out the woodworks and now everybody's coming to work because it's about money. It's always about the money at the end of the day. It's always about the money at the end of the day. Because she didn't really have to. She could have said, no, I don't want to. You got $20 million.
Yeah.
You could have this could have ended years ago. You could have got $20 million 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But now let's embarrass him more. Let's make it even worse than what it is. Let's take it there. Let's take it there. When you don't have to take it there. So you got $20 million from Puffy. You got an extra 10 from the hotel. All of a sudden, they've been had it. The money
we didn't know about the hotel. I found out about the hotel like since his trial started. So
likewise.
It just has been a secret deal undercover.
Exactly. And she said, oh yeah, the deal is final, but I haven't got the money yet. So because you decided to stay in this relationship or whatever you decided to do and however it played out, you got $30 million at the deal. And let me embarrass him as well.
Yeah. So in essence, the charges against P. Diddy, it paints a picture of Combs using his power, his influence in the music industry to operate a criminal enterprise involving sex trafficking and related offenses, right? Now, with saying this, racketeering or RICO law always was used against the mafia, right? Organized crime. And for them to use this against P. Diddy, this basically has never been used before in this type of cases, right? So it's going to take a lot for them to prove that he was running an enterprise and racketeering, because so far from what I see and heard, they haven't really proven much in terms of racketeering and enterprising.
They've basically exposed his sexual deviancy,
his private life. That's it.
Which isn't a crime, because you know,
yes.
As far as the racketeering,
she always called who she wanted. She was able to pick and choose. I want Mr. Guy. I want Mr. Dude. I want Mr. Person. So at what point did he use his business? At what point?
Well, she claims that using his influence and his money and what have you, and his influence over her, he gave her the position and the role for her to seek out the prostitutes and put the ads on Craigslist, and she did all like
is open to the public. I can call any prostitute on Craigslist myself. Now, if I wanted a $10,000 prostitute compared to a $20 prostitute, that's where the money comes in, because he can afford the higher paid prostitutes.
Yes,
but to say that she maybe didn't want the $20 prostitute, she wanted the $10,000 prostitute. So Puffy had the money to get the $10,000 prostitute, not the $20 prostitute. Craigslist is public. That's not using my business to buy a prostitute. That means I went on Google.
That's a good perspective. I never really thought about that.
I went on Google.
Yeah.
And put in Craigslist. Like I can buy a lawnmower, I can buy a prostitute.
I mean, I think this is the beginning of the trial.
That's how it is.
This is the beginning of the trial, so a lot of details and other things, quote unquote, have yet to be tabled, or you know.
Do we know how many people they have? The prosecution has to speak to. How many more people do they have?
Well, so far they have spoken to 10 witnesses so far. One of them, well, you know, the main star witness is Cassie. They spoke to Cassie's mother today. They spoke to a young lady from is it Danny Kane? That was P. Diddy's old group. They also spoke with P. Diddy personal assistant, I believe yesterday, and he testified saying that he would prepare the packages, meaning the Louis Vuitton bag with like $10,000 in it, along with like toiletry, you know, baby oil and lubricants and stuff like that.
So
condoms and what have you for the guests. Yeah, he prepped it. Yeah, and he said that he's seen like how P. Diddy was a little bit was violent, and allegedly, and in addition that Suge Knight came to town, and P. Diddy heard that he was eating at the diner, and he loaded up the guns and was getting ready to go down to
allegedly.
Yes. Allegedly, according to the testimony, hence the reason why he severed his relationship with P. Diddy after that. So, so in other words, the prosecutors want to paint a picture that this man was corrupt, he was violent, he's able to steer people and control people based on his wealth, his popularity, and his fame.
I mean, from the beginning of time, we've seen it time and again. Powerful men, you know, their influence is able to, you know, leverage and manipulate people in the direction that they want.
Yes.
So,
you know what I'm going to say as a woman? I'm going to say this. What is more important, your self-respect or fame? What is the where do we draw the line? If I want to be famous and your self-respect. So I'm thinking as a regular person, right? I meet Puffy, I do all this, but he has to do all these crazy, crazy things that I'm not comfortable with. At some
Yes.
point in time, some of these people say, you know what? I don't care. I want to be famous. I want to be in Puffy's entourage. I want to be his bodyguard. I want to do this. And nope, none of this came out. None of this came out at all until somebody said Cassie's going to write a book. And she wanted the money. And now all this stuff comes out the woodwork, right? So you're going to tell me all these years, Puff's been around, Biggie, Mace, and no one said anything? What? At no point in time, no, was everybody that scared as a group, as our people?
Well, he has the bag, right? He has the bag.
But
he's the man that carrying the bag, and a lot of times
okay,
when he's paying the bills, a lot of people.
If we're taking them down now, so if one person says it, if it happened one time, it's happened twice. If it happened twice, it happened 3 times.
Yeah.
Once you get 10 people, this is what people understand. Yeah, you have the power, but if people, the other people, they got power too. Just like they got you in them courts, they're gonna take your money. They're gonna take your dignity. They're gonna take your money. So all it takes is one person to say, you know what, Puffy did. You better ask Bill Cosby. Better ask OJ. Then what?
I mean,
it takes one person to say one thing. It takes 2 persons to say 2 things. This could have been handled a long time ago. If everybody was so scared. Scared of what? You're not scared now? Why wouldn't you scare this? So basically, all these people have allowed this man, allegedly allowed this man to torture people over and over and over again. Okay, I got out, but I know he's still doing it. So I'm just letting it happen. That's insane to me. That doesn't make sense to me. To run, everybody's always trying to run to get $1 from somebody or something.
So to prove sex,
my brother's keeper means something. That means something. My brother's keeper. You know, but what happened to that? So because it's not direct, and another thing too, I bet you everybody has had a brother, an uncle, a dad, a cousin that's hit a woman, that has taken drugs, has done something. They didn't run to the court and tell on him. Yeah. Because he didn't have no money. It's all about the money. Let me get what I can get. Let me get what I can get.
To prove sex trafficking, right? In the court of law, one have to number 1 prove fraud, number 2 coercion, and also a threat. And have you guys, from the testimony so far, have the prosecutor proven those?
They've yet to prove any of those aforementioned charges. Will they be able to do as such?
Well, okay, threat. Let's talk about the threat part. Did he threaten her? Cassie, she was threatened. But then she also volunteered.
Right?
But then she also volunteered, and they constantly said, did you voluntarily go back? Did you voluntarily go back? So they've proven somewhat of a threat. But once you keep going back, it's no longer a threat. Once you volunteer.
What happened is that, you remember they asked her about the relationship that she had with the rapper Kid Cudi, and in which she was with him. She said she was with him, but she kept on going back to P. Diddy and still sleeping with him. Right? From the testimony, and up to the present day, not present day, but up to the point where she met her now husband, and she was still seeing P. Diddy on the side. So she kept on going back, and she claimed that he raped her, right? But yet still, like couple weeks later, she went back to his house and still had sex with him. So
how many rape victims go back?
How much more control does he have over her mentally? Or I don't know, man.
But she left so many. She even said, she even admitted, he let me leave. I will come back. He let me leave. Yes. I will come back. He let me leave, come back. So how many times, or is there many times that when does it not become a threat? I guess at that point. At what point are you not? Even when she got beat up in the hotel room and security came, you went back into the hotel room.
Let's
Yeah,
not forget that drugs were in the mix
that's
also.
true. That's
So,
true.
one's judgment can be most clouded due to the effects of, stimulants and
True.
alcohol, you know?
And
That's
drug
true.
use on both sides.
On
Both
both
P
sides.
Diddy,
On both
yeah,
sides.
because his assistant testified yesterday saying that they asked him how often do you see P Diddy use drugs. He said every day, and
Functional.
a lot of pills because the package that the assistant used to package up. He said that he has up to like 30 different pills in it. And that's a lot of pills, man. 30 different pills?
Uppers. That's a lot. That's a lot. So
Wow.
yeah, and that can definitely cloud someone's judgment. But once you
Yes.
come down as a drug
Hmm.
person, anybody who has done drugs, you up. I'm going crazy. I'm losing my mind. Then you start
Yeah.
crashing, coming down.
Yes.
Cassie,
Hmm.
you go home. You're crashing. You're coming down.
Hmm.
That depression sets in. At that point in time, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this anymore. So as a sober person,
Yes.
do you go back or are you getting the drugs on your own by
Hmm.
yourself, getting high, and then going back?
Yes.
At what point does it stop being Puffy's issue? At this point, that is Cassie's issue, right?
I mean, I'm sure to a degree it was used as a coping mechanism, you know,
Hmm.
because
So
like she
so
said,
so Stero,
you,
do you think that her silence and her and with her going back and forth with P. Diddy, you think that she was complicit in the
most,
silencing
most
of what was
definitely.
going on?
I mean, it's almost like he has a hold on her
Hmm.
to a degree. I'm not sure what type of a hold,
She
but
said she was deeply in love with him.
I mean, you know, that's subjective. You know, if she
Yeah.
says she's in love with him, I guess she was. I mean,
Hmm.
how are we to know?
How do we know?
What exactly? Was he in love with her? I'm sure there were mutual feelings between the two of them, but
Mhm.
this whole thing, the way it's unfolding, it seems like nasty work, bro. You
Because
know?
when she said she was deeply in love with him, she said she wanted to please him. And these are these things that I guess he liked. And from what the testimony, her testimony states that she would get the prostitutes, the male prostitutes. Um, P Diddy and them would procure the drugs allegedly, and P Diddy liked certain things in the bedroom. He liked to watch. He liked to for her to procure certain guys with big things, and he liked to watch and while he masturbate. And in addition, after this session is over, and he, Cassie would take it, the man's, juice, whatever, and bring it to the next room and rub it on P. Diddy's chest and stuff like that, He liked stuff like freaky stuff like that, I guess. It floated his boat and he was sailing, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, the mere fact that his children are privy to this information,
Yeah,
Yes,
that's like wow, you know. I
yes.
mean, his daughters hearing
His
this,
three daughters.
his sons, you know,
Hmm.
it's
yeah,
like wow, you know.
yeah.
I
Yes.
mean, it's very interesting. I
And
mean,
then
you
just a
know,
thought, just a thought of your three daughters in that courtroom, and they are there every day, and they got to hear your father subject, his woman.
I totally blame the guardians of those children right now for letting them go to court.
They think, but they're grown. They're not
They're not
grown.
grown. They're
The
still
little
in
girl.
high school. The little
Oh,
girls
they're
are
still
still
in
in
high
high school.
school. Okay,
They just
okay,
went to
okay,
their prom the other day.
okay.
And I understand they want to be there to support their dad. I totally
Hmm.
understand that. And probably want to see him be able to kind of get a visual because they haven't seen their mother's past and stuff like that. And I understand that. But I do feel that certain things, children need to remain in a children's place.
Correct, because if they're teenagers and they're still in school, like
now they gotta go to school. Now
you
they
know,
gotta go to school.
and then you gotta hear that, you know, your father subject his woman, his longtime lover for many years that he lived with and everything like that, for to get prostitutes, and they urinate in her mouth, and
Yeah, just
you know, come on, man.
who are the guardians allowing their children? I mean, hearing it like this, like looking at Cassie saying that and hearing it third party are totally different things. You know what I mean? And I
Do you
just
know
don't.
the bullying that's happening in school?
Can you imagine? Can you imagine what they're going through right now? And me, Yolanda, person that has children, I would not want, and if I just wouldn't want my children to hear that. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't, as a regular person, I don't tell my adult children my private business. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I just don't, I think that is very inappropriate. And whoever the guardian is should really, you know, think about that kind of stuff like that.
I thought they were beyond like teenage years and like maybe in college or what have you. And then I realized, oh
The
no, I
boys
remember
are
them
older
little twins.
for sure.
Yeah, I remember them twins were
They
born like
such a problem.
yeah.
It's sad. I think that's sad. All of it's sad on both sides. It's sad. We all
Yes.
grew up on Puffy's music and stuff like that. We don't want to see any of our people go down or whatever for
Yeah.
any reason. And definitely, you know, we have our heart out to Cassie if she felt, you know, that she was treated any kind of way. And as a woman, it's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Especially as a girl's, I'm a girl's girl. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And especially as a woman who has defended her friends from men.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And have jumped in the middle of things because you're not going to disrespect my friend in front of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of, it's just sad. It's sad on both parts that she felt that she couldn't talk to anybody, that she couldn't go to anybody, that she couldn't pull herself away from that. And so now we're going to have somebody that, you know, we all loved his music and had a legacy and stuff like that is being another one bites the dust, you know, and it's sad.
I mean, there does seem to be an agenda to, you know, target the black males in the, you know, entertainment industry. I mean, from, you know, R. Kelly to Bill Cosby.
Well, let's not take away now. Let's not take away. They've done some stuff. People have done some stuff.
Most definitely. They have to be accountable for their actions.
It's affecting someone else's stuff. That's when now it's bad. Because it hasn't been bad. If Bill Cosby was drugging women in the 60s, it didn't bother nobody in the 60s. It didn't bother nobody in the 70s, 80s. Now it's 2025, and now all of a sudden we against Bill Cosby when he's like 100. You know what I mean? So it's like until
this new cancel culture is totally different from what it was back, like you said, back then. It was, I wouldn't say accepted back then. You just know and you just mum the word, right? You all know how you get into the industry in general, you know, whether it is the movie industry, acting, entertainment, and so forth. A lot of time you have to sleep your way up to the top or for certain position. That's how it was. That's how it was in the old time days, up to the 60s, probably 70s, up to probably the 80s and 90s, right?
I mean, it's probably still like that today, to be fair.
Yeah. You know, you have to trade something. You trade this to get this, right?
How about don't and maybe go get you a customer service job? How about don't? How about don't?
I mean, but that goes back to the old time saying, what does it profit a man to gain the world and lose his soul? Everybody has their, you know, threshold. I mean, some guys will do something strange for a little change. You know what I mean? Me personally, I don't get down like that. You know what I mean? But the next man, I mean, who's to say, you know?
Yes.
People sell their souls every day for stuff, you know, and who's to say tomorrow I might change my mind, like, oh my God, you know, I know I wouldn't. But, you know,
and they would say, well, I have to do what I have to do, right? I hear a lot of times people say that word, I have to do what I have to do.
Exactly. You know? And you never know. And nowadays, I mean, maybe we're all older now, we probably can say what I will and what I do, but who's to say what we would have done? Cassie 19 years old, Yolanda 19 years old. Who's to say what I would have done in that position? You know what I mean? Would I have been that strong Yolanda I am today back then? Maybe not. You know, we can all speculate. I could have, would have, should have. You know what I mean? That's why I say we just want to, you know, send our blessings on both sides.
Yeah. So in other words, even if he wins the case, his reputation is solid.
Done.
It's really solid.
It's definitely tarnished because you know.
Well, people still want to do music with him after that. That would be the question to know.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah,
I'm sure they will.
but I think corporate America per se, like the commercials and advertising and all that stuff.
That's done.
I think that is if he do come back, it's going to take years for him to rehabilitate his character and his persona.
Yeah, definitely.
It will take years.
Definitely. It will. I totally agree. It will take a long time. Or, I mean, you know, Puffy's my age. Puffy's 55.
Yes.
What how, you'll be 70 when you'll be cool again? I mean, we're gonna be,
I mean, I will say this. Based on the court art person that's drawing the pictures, Puffy seems to have aged, or
a lot.
Trial seems to have taken its toll on him. You know.
Yes.
Jail will age you. I'm sure.
I mean,
stress, grief, stress. You know, worry. My children. He has no support system. I mean, his support system are children. His mom is older. He has no woman. He has, you know.
And remember, they cut off communication with him too because they didn't want him to badger any witness or go after any witness. They cut off his communication, so he's stuck in that's it. Oh, actually, from what they said, that his roommate is that dude that scammed those people in that Bitcoin.
Really?
Millions of dollars. Yeah, that's his roomie.
Okay. It's selling.
Yeah.
It's selling.
Okay. Yeah, see, I've never been to jail, so
yeah.
I'm like roommate. Yeah, it's selling.
That's funny. That's funny. They probably have a lot to talk about. They probably have a lot to talk about.
I mean,
a lot to talk about.
With that said, we will definitely keep you guys posted to the ongoing developments as they unfold, and we will ultimately see if the prosecutors will indeed prove their case as far as the charges that are pending against Mr. Combs.
Yes.
Until then, continue to like, share, subscribe the content. You guys are the real MVPs. On behalf of Chief and Stero, I want to thank our special guest, Yolanda, for giving the female perspective today. Most appreciated. You guys continue to have a great rest of the week and stay tuned.
Thank you.
Peace.